TV trash. So, the Peanuts movie came out recently. My thoughts on it? Why have you not gone to see this movie? And if you have seen it, why have you not gone to see it again? I can't believe it! They actually got everything right! Every single thing you could have hoped to see in a Peanuts movie, it's all here! This movie turned out far better than half of the TV specials I've reviewed, and it is the absolute perfect tribute to Charles Schulz's work. Which is why I'm paying tribute by declaring this December to be Charlie Brown month. That's right. You've kept asking and asking for me to get back to reviewing Peanuts cartoons. Well, you're getting a whole month's worth of them. So let's get started by reviewing one of the more controversial specials. By the late 1980s and early 90s, the very special episode was really in vogue in cartoons and other kids shows. And naturally, all of them had mixed results. Do it right, and you could end up sending a very powerful and important message to kids about a very difficult thing to talk about, and you could help parents deal with having to teach kids about very hard real-life issues. Do it wrong, and you pretty much get every single episode of Captain Planet. And so in 1990, we got a Peanuts special dealing with the very oh-so-happy topic of cancer. The original idea for this particular show was conceived in 1985 by a nurse at the Stanford Children's Hospital, and Charles Schulz was very receptive to the idea, likely because his mother had died of cancer when he was still a young adult. Eventually, the idea grew from a 5-minute film to a full half-hour special, and Schulz convinced his producer Bill Melendez to go along with the production with assistance from the American Cancer Society. So how would one of these attempts to make a very special show for the Peanuts animated universe turn out? Let's find out as we look at Why Charlie Brown Why.
Someday there'll be a monument right here, and you know what it'll say? It'll say, here is where Sally Brown wasted the best years of her life, waiting for the school bus.
Boy, Sally must really be down in the dumps about this, because she doesn't even care that her sweet Baboo is flirting with another girl right in front of her.
Did you have fun on the swings yesterday, Janice? I sure did. I love the swings. You're the best swing pusher in the school, Linus.
I'm not gonna comment. I ran out of steam on my lack of fear of cooties complaints years ago.
Sorry, Snoopy. You can't go with us. Dogs aren't allowed on the school bus.
Woof.
The worst thing is, Sally's still probably a better comedian than half the stand-ups that get on Comedy Central.
Ouch! Now we'll have another bruise. Look, I cut myself last week and the bruises are still there.
The next few minutes are all about how Janice is feeling more and more sick, coming down with a fever, and Linus suggests that she go see the school nurse.
Yes, ma'am. I told Janice she should go home or see the nurse. No, ma'am. I'm not a doctor.
But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Oh, come on! It was a hanging curveball right over the plate. I had to swing at that. Fast forward to the next day, and we get more and more moping from Sally.
Why does everyone worry so much about Janice? I'm the one who's going to have a bad day.
Why you?
Because I left my lunch sitting on the curb.
And naturally, Snoopy is the one that finds the lunchbox and is able to yank an entire picnic out of it. Really, lunchboxes? Dog houses? Was Charlie Brown's entire town founded by Time Lords or something? At any rate, the kids find out that Janice ended up in the hospital, and both Charlie Brown and Linus go to see her. But before we find out exactly what's wrong with her, of course we have to get some more attempted levity from Mr. Benji Stew.
There goes the world-famous surgeon on his way to the operating room. It must be gratifying for him, being a surgeon and knowing that he can help so many people. No, he just likes to wear the little green booties.
They're falling for that costume now? Boy, hospital security has been getting dumber since Snoopy come home.
What's the world-famous surgeon running up and down the stairs like that for, Charlie Brown? Because he can't reach the elevator button.
They finally make it to Janice's room, and that's when the huge bombshell is dropped.
My blood has cancer in it.
Are you going to die? Good grief, Charlie Brown.
Well, Mark, that is another quote I didn't think I'd ever hear in a Charlie Brown special.
They said they can treat leukemia now, so I should get well. First they took a blood test. See? From this finger. They also took one more test to see for sure if I had leukemia. That's a bone marrow test. Then they x-rayed me with this big machine. They also hooked me up to this IV. That means intravenous. That's how I get my chemotherapy. But it makes my hair fall out and it makes me sick to my stomach.
And I hope all the viewers are paying attention because there will be a quiz afterwards.
Don't worry, Linus. I didn't go through all those tests for nothing.
Why, Charlie Brown? Why?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a title! Okay, joking aside, this is pretty accurate to real-life situations as far as I know. It does seem like often the friends of those afflicted with such a condition are more scared than those who actually become stricken. Clearly, this is among the points that people at the American Cancer Society brought up with Schultz in the production of this show. And you can really see the fear, sadness, and even anger building up in Linus. So, of course, Lucy is the first one to push him over the edge.
While you're up, why don't you get me a glass of milk?
I remember touching her forehead and feeling how warm she was.
You touched her? And now you're handing me a glass of milk? You could catch leukemia from her and give it to me.
Cancer is not contagious.
Well, anyway, take this milk back. I don't want it.
No, thank you. I don't want to catch your crabbiness.
And yet that's still not a big enough burn that she deserves. Can we get a flamethrower up in here? Though I will say, if they had to pick a character that was going to be presumptuous on such a disease like cancer due to ignorance, yeah, they pretty much picked the best candidate. So now we fast forward to the winter, and after a really pointless sledding scene with Snoopy and the Woodstock gang, we see that Janice returns, but with a definite change.
Everything okay?
Yes. Well, I'm upset that I've lost my hair and have to wear a cap.
And of course, this has to lead to one of the other kids at school taunting Janice about it, and Linus kinda loses his you-know-what.
Janice has got leukemia, cementhead! That's cancer! Have you ever heard of cancer? She's been in the hospital and she's had chemotherapy to help her get better! And it makes her hair fall out! Does that make you happy? Would you like to go through what she's gone through? Think about it!
Damn, boy, you gonna bite off his head or something? But again, this kind of works within the context. Linus has clearly been fretting over Janice for all these months, likely with Lucy providing no sympathy whatsoever. So yeah, this was clearly a bubble of frustration and emotion that was just due to absolutely explode. And for what it's worth, there is this somewhat touching end to the scene where the kid realizes he did cross a line. And then after that, we get another filler piece with Snoopy needing to patch into Chuck's house in order to power his Christmas lights. Really, with everything else he's got in that TARDIS, he doesn't have his own generator? It's pretty much just to establish that Christmas has arrived, and thus Linus stops by Janice's with a present, where we see her sisters haven't been exactly receptive to all the attention Janice has been getting.
Another present? Everyone brings Janice something. She gets more presents than the two of us put together. We have to be so careful around her. We can't even get the chickenpox because she would catch it from us and it would be really bad for her. Actually, she's become a real nuisance.
Geez, she could be Lucy's protege or something. Is there some type of bitch bag club in this town where the likes of Lucy, Violet, and Sally all show up together and bring in new recruits? But again, there is kind of a point to this, as the sister admits the attention Janice gets is making her feel left out, which is another effect that those around people dealing with such issues end up feeling. It's not that they're meant to be cruel and jealous, it's just a natural reaction to feeling that you're being ignored. Fast forward to the spring where everything is growing again. Symbolism! Never thought I'd be able to rip off that film brain line. Another Snoopy and Woodstock scene, then we get to Janice being back at school after going through more treatment over the winter.
They're up! The swings are up!
I have a surprise for you, Linus.
The hair's back.
Janice, what's the surprise?
The hair's back. Wow, I haven't been that shocked of a surprise since I saw that Snoopy was the Easter Beagle! But it still is a pretty touching end to this episode, as it represents the exclamation point on showing that Janice has completely recovered from her cancer and everything can go back to normal. Which means that eventually Sally is going to confront Janice about trying to steal a sweet baboo, but that episode kinda got left on the cutting room floor. I definitely have mixed feelings about this special. It was a pretty difficult one to sit through, but not because of the subject matter. The writing and dialogue do come off more like an instructional video than a regular Charlie Brown special, and thus the pacing lags pretty badly, especially through the first 2 acts. On top of it, the Snoopy scenes feel like filler that fit even less with the main story than normal, and Charlie Brown's presence is pretty much negligible. Still, their hearts were in the right place in doing this, and I give Schultz credit that that's a better reason to produce something like this than a special that shills for the NFL. If I came off as crass during this review, it was only to show you how sometimes levity is also something that can be used to deal with the trauma and frustration of such issues like this. I myself learned quite a bit about cancer treatment from watching this when it first premiered, so it pretty much does its job. Sadly, it was cancer that took Schultz's life in 2000, but if this special helped any kids deal with such an affliction and learn how to get treatment for it, that's probably all he could hope for. Probably did a better job talking about cancer than Funky Winkerbean did. Charlie Brown special continues next week on TV Trash, when we'll take a look at what might be my least favorite Charlie Brown special of all.